Welcome back. Let us very quickly revise or revisit p-type and n-type semiconductors. P-type semiconductors have a very large number or a significant number of holes, whereas they have very few or very little free electrons. The free electrons are due to the continuously ongoing process of ionization, which is a result of thermal excitation, whereas the large number of holes are due to the acceptor impurity which is added for forming a p-type material. Again, you must recall that the majority charge carriers, which are holes, are not temperature dependent as they are due to the impurity which is added, whereas that small number of free electrons, which constitute the minority carriers, are very heavily dependent on temperature. Likewise, in an n-type semiconductor, the minority carriers are holes, meaning that there are very few holes available, and the majority carriers are the large number of free electrons. The minority carriers or holes are due to the generation of electron-hole pairs, which is basically the process of ionization, and are of course dependent on temperature. Whereas the majority carriers, which is a large number of free electrons, are due to the donor impurity which is added and are therefore independent of temperature. So now a p-n junction is created when p-type, that means acceptor impurities, are added onto one side and n-type or donor impurities are added on the other side of a single crystal or a single piece of semiconductor. Now, it is important that the p-type and n-type impurities are added onto a single crystal of semiconductor for ensuring a continuity in atomic structure. We cannot form a p-n junction by merely combining a p-type and an n-type material together. It has to be one piece or one crystal of semiconductor and at the two ends of that one piece or one crystal of semiconductor, we add this carefully controlled amount of acceptor and donor types of impurities, which resultantly give us the p side and the n side of our p-n junction. We are now going to look at the formation of a p-n junction in detail. As I already told you, that in a single crystal of semiconductor, we add p-type or acceptor impurities on one side and n-type or donor impurities on the other side. Now, of course, in the n side or where we have added the donor impurities, there is a very high concentration of electrons. Or on the p side or where we have added the acceptor impurities, there is a very high concentration of holes. Now, as you're aware of the process of diffusion, where and now what happens due to diffusion is the charge carriers, wherever they are in higher concentration, they tend to move towards area of their lower concentration. So naturally, holes from the p side, they tend to diffuse across the junction into the n region. And electrons from the n side, they tend to move or diffuse across the junction into the p region. So now what happens is that holes which are in a majority in the p region, and now when they diffuse to the n region, over there, and as soon as they cross the junction into the n region, the holes coming in from the p region are immediately neutralized by the electrons in the n region. Similarly, electrons which are in a majority in the n region, when they diffuse across the junction to the p region, so immediately when they move to the p region, they are neutralized by the holes present in the p region. So now what happens is that due to this, the p region becomes deficient in holes near the junction and the n region becomes deficient in electrons near the junction. Now I will very quickly, let's say, repeat this again to facilitate your clarity. What has happened is that because holes from the p region, as soon as they cross the junction, they are neutralized by the electrons on the n region. So now the electrons in the n region, which were close to the junction, because they have been used up in neutralizing the holes which had come from the p region, the n region actually becomes deficient in electrons near the junction. On the n side, putting it even more simply, there are no electrons left near the junction because the electrons which were present near the junction got used up in neutralizing the holes which were coming in from the p region. Similarly, in a very similar way, the holes near the junction on the p region get used up in neutralizing the electrons which were coming in from the n region. So the p region becomes deficient in holes near the junction, and the n region becomes deficient in electrons near the junction. Now, because of this deficiency of holes near the junction in the p region near the junction acquires a certain negative charge because it has become deficient in holes. Therefore, this deficiency or this lack of holes which carry a positive charge. So this lack of holes or this lack of positive charges gives it a certain negative charge. And similarly on the n side, because the n region becomes deficient in electrons near the junction, it acquires a certain positive charge near the junction. Now this is also illustrated in the figure at the bottom over here, where you can see, now in the first figure on the right, you saw that how the holes from the p region diffused towards the n region and the electrons from the n region diffused towards the p region. And then in this figure on the right side, you can see that the incoming electrons from the n region were neutralized by the holes from the p region, and the incoming holes from the p region were neutralized by the electrons in the n region, due to which both n and p region became deficient in electrons and holes near the junction respectively. And because of this deficiency in holes and electrons near the junction, the p side became negative near the junction and the n side becomes positive near the junction. Now this charge region around the p-n junction, which is devoid or deficient in mobile carriers, holes and electrons, is called the depletion region or the space charge region. Now this name depletion region is intuitive, or it is self-explanatory, that because mobile carriers, which is holes from the p region and electrons from the n region, have gotten used up. So now because have become depleted. Now because these mobile carriers have become depleted in this region around the junction, therefore this region, which has these, let's say, these immobile or fixed charges, is called the depletion region because mobile charges have been depleted inside this region. Now, what happens next is that an electric field E forms between these positive ions in the n-type material and the negative ions in the p-type material. Now, as you can see in this figure over here, that in this depletion region, there is a formation of an electric field E. So now what this electric field E does is that it prevents further diffusion of holes from the p region into the n region and the electrons from the n region into the p region. As you can see over here, that the direction of the electric field is such that it repels further holes from coming in from the p region into the n region. And likewise, it also repels, or it prevents the electrons from coming in from the n region into the p region. You're already aware from your previous study that the direction of electric field is taken as the direction in which a positive charge will experience a force. See? So over here, the direction of the electric charge, of the electric field that you see is the direction in which a positive charge will experience a force. And you can see that clearly the direction of this electric field is such that it prevents any further holes from the P region from entering in the N region, and vice versa. It prevents any further electrons from the N region into going inside the P region. Now, because of the presence of this electric field, there is a built-in potential, or a potential difference develops across this depletion region. And we call this potential the built-in potential, and we denote it with VBI. Further, however, another thing which happens is that this E field is such, or its direction is such, that it still supports the flow of minority carriers. Now, this is very important, that this development of E field was very useful because it prevented further flow of holes, which are the majority carrier in the P region, from traveling into the N region, and it prevented electrons, which are the majority carrier in the N region, from traveling from the N region into the P region. Nevertheless, this direction of this electric field is such that it supports the current due to minority carriers. Now, you have to remember that in the P region, electrons are in a minority carrier, and in the N region, holes are the minority carrier. And the direction of this electric field is such that it supports the flow of holes, which are a minority in the N region, to the P region, and similarly, it supports the flow of electrons, which are again a minority in the P region, to the N region. So, in a nutshell, the formation of this E field in the depletion region is very useful because it prevents the further flow of majority carrier from the P side into the N side, and from the N side into the P side. Now, why this is very useful is because if no such electric field had formed, probably all the holes from the P region and the electrons from the N region would have just neutralized each other. So the formation of this electric field prevents any further neutralization. However, this does still allow this undesirable current, or this undesirable flow of minority charge carriers. We now look at briefly at the length of the depletion region. The depletion region extends more in the lightly doped region. Now, this is so because let's say that if the concentration of acceptor impurities in the P region is greater than the concentration of donor impurities in the N region, then the length of the depletion region in the N region will be greater than the length of depletion region in the P region. This is because the hole which crosses the junction from the P to the N region will now have to travel a longer distance before it finds an electron which can neutralize it or which can recombine with it. Therefore, we conclude that the length of the depletion region is always more in the region which is lightly doped. If let's say the amount of donor impurity is the same as the amount of acceptor impurity, that is to imply that both the regions are equally doped, then the depletion layer extends equally in both regions. However, the region which is lightly doped, by lightly doped we mean that it has less impurity added to it. The depletion region always extends more in the region which is lightly doped.